9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon and happy Monday. I hope that you guys are having a phenomenal start of this new week and last week in July. Oh boy, 2021 is just flying by. But today we're going to talk about courage, how to overcome courage. If you know anybody going through turmoil, if you know anybody going through some type of storm, whether it's personal, whether it's business, whether it's finances, whatever it is, or health, please, please, please let them know to watch this show today. I'm going to be giving you a few tips on how to conquer your fears and conquer this game called life by accomplishing none other than finding the courage within you. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way. Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way.
Well, hello and happy Monday. Yes, it is the last Monday of July. Can you guys believe it? So we got 7 months gone out of this year. What have you accomplished this year that you're proud of? Well, if you haven't, hey, don't forget my favorite saying, right? If it fails, then press the restart button. You can always restart your day. You can restart your month, your week, your year, your life if you need to. But today we're going to talk about something very important and a subject that a lot of people need to be talking about. And many, we try to stay away from it because I don't know, maybe the fear of talking about it, the fear of getting a feedback that you're not really going to like. But we're going to talk about courage today. Okay. Courage is very important. Why? Well, number one, you got to be able to find the courage to do whatever it takes in life to design the life that you want. Okay. Do you agree with me or not? If you're watching, I hope that you participate today. Today, it's a special day because I want to dedicate this show to everybody who is going through some type of black cloud. I get phone calls all the time. You know, people send me private messages, direct messages of things that they're going through. A lot of them are living through black clouds. A lot of them don't have the courage to speak about it. So whether you're a courageous person that likes to talk about it, whether you're one of those that hides behind an image or a vision and don't really talk about your feelings, you know, I hope that today you pay attention because I may not have all the answers and I'm not an expert at it, but I have lived a very full, eventful life that has taken me to many times breaking those barriers, breaking those barriers of fear. You know, that fear that we think it's there, that we think is there and it's going to prevent us to do things, when in reality, it was all an illusion to begin with. Okay, so so hopefully you're watching. I see some comments coming through. Thank you. Hi, thank you for watching. Where are you watching us from? If you're already tuned in, let us know you're here. Let me know that you're here. You know, the team and I, we always love seeing you guys interact and give us your 2 cents. And hi, Alejandro. Welcome to the show. I love having you here. So so today, you know, I hope that you guys participate. But what is courage what is when the word courage comes out, what does it make you think of? Does it make you think that it's something that you need, that it's something that you master, or that it's something that you would like a little bit more of? Think about it for a moment, and maybe write it on the comments and let me know what you think. For me, I can tell you courage is all about making a decision not to be afraid. Okay, not to be afraid. And I have a vast experience on facing things through business, through personal life, decisions. Being a single parent is, and I can tell you, obviously, I don't use that as excuse. I actually use it as my fuel to keep going, because when your household only depends on one decision, and that decision happens to be on you, you tend to grow that courage fairly quickly. Okay, it's kind of like my grandma used to say, or the good Mexicans will say, or Latinos will say, la carga hace andar al burro. The load makes the donkey walk. When you say that, that's so true, because it's not until you push yourself to do something that makes you afraid, that makes you fearful, that you discover what you truly are made of. Correct? So right now we're going through the Olympics. And aren't the Olympics just so amazing? I don't know about how you look at the Olympics, but for me, is I see a life. I see, something that these people that are there participating have worked their entire lives for that moment. And we may take it for granted. When I watch the Olympics, any given name, whether I understand the game, any given game, I'm sorry, whether I understand the game, like the game, prefer the game, whatever it is, I'm so proud to see those players. Obviously, I'm from Mexico, so I will forever be proud of all the Mexico Olympians. But I am, an American, because I live in this country, and because I embrace this country, and because I have children that were born into this country. So I love the US. So when I see, players from the US, participants from the US being there and just conquering, most of them have a story. And most of that story usually comes from a place of fear, whether it was adversity, whether it was something that they faced through that, through being involved in group settings like that. They were faced with fear. They were faced with, maybe you can't do it. Maybe you are not cut out for this. But something inside of them, whether it's something that they're born or something that they acquire through their experiences in life, got them to, conquer and be there, and be able to participate in as an Olympian. I can only imagine how proud they are and how the families feel proud. I don't care if you made it to the Olympics to sit on the bench. Okay, that's already an accomplishment. How many of us would wish ourselves or our children will even make it to that life experience? But not enough of us have the courage, right, to fight through the endless nights of training, the endless nights and endless days of preparation, the endless mornings of commitment that it takes to be there. So that's just one example. Okay, we're talking about the Olympics right now. Almost every commercial on TV is of encouragement and praise, and it's beautiful. I love being in this environment, because I am of that environment. I am of the positive thinking environment, of the conqueror environment. So I hope the entire year we would get these type of messages through TV and social media, and we continue to listen, to those type of stories, Just some of the stories of these athletes are just phenomenal. So we'll get right into our subject. For me, fear is an illusion, right? I hope that you understand that. Fear is just what you make of it, the monster that you create, not knowing, right? Not knowing. So it's the lack of knowledge that makes you fearful in doing something. So we're going to talk about a couple of little things. And I love telling you stories, right? I love telling you stories because stories are so true to making us realize how close we are to conquering our fears and conquering, you know, that courage that we need, or acquiring that courage that we need to conquer our fears. But a long time ago, actually about 10, 12 years ago, when I was going through my divorce, uh I was, obviously, I got married fairly young, and I had gone from being parented, right? My parents being my parents, to then being parent by my husband, pretty much. So I went from one mandate to another, from one hand to another. That's pretty much. I had no life in between. So I had no experience. I didn't go bump my head, and learn. And for many of you guys out there who are listening, who are still living at home, and you're thinking about the only way out of your home, because whether you're not satisfied or whether you don't have an ideal household, um, you're thinking of just going to accept a partner, and moving in with the partner just to escape that life. I want to tell you that that's the wrong route. You actually need to go and face you. You need to go, and yes, it may be time for you to leave your egg nest, right? To leave your nest, and it may be time to leave what is making you uncomfortable right now. But it's time for you to go and experience you, and get to know you and who you are. Discover who you are, what you are made of, what are your capabilities of fighting this or playing this game, right? Either fighting this life or playing this game, because at times one of the other shows up more than the other. So with that said, for me, fear is an illusion. So when you're about to do something, of course you're fearful. Of course you got to be cautious. Of course you got to learn more about what you're about to do. So when I was going through my divorce, I was considering staying and suffering for the fear of not knowing how my life with my children were going to be, how that ex-husband was going to be towards me, how if he was going to go and fight for my kids, if he was going to go and make my life miserable, if I was going to be able to support my children, if I was going to be able to hold a household, if I was going to be able to be successful at a job or a career. Because I had that fear. I had that illusion that that life I was living in that particular moment was, that's it. That was the life I had gotten. That was the cards I had been drawn, right? And so I was very fearful. And I stayed 10 extra months in the relationship. Number one, because I'm a fighter and I wanted to give it all I got. Number two, because I was afraid. I was afraid of the unknown. I was trying to figure out if there was going to be an exit, what that exit plan was going to be. So, one of the things I did is I started learning from others. I started asking people that had gone through divorces, people that had gone through an adversity before. And I started asking them, what do you think about this? How did you play a part in this? What happened to you? What was your story? After you made that decision, what was on the other side? And somebody told me this: Farid, when you're going through adversity, and you know you are doing everything in your power to be good or do good, be of value, how I say it, right? Be of value, be a good person. Always know this: good always wins over evil. And this stuck to me. This completely stuck to me and changed the path that I was going to take. I was right there, right? I was going to either make a right or a left. And both roads were going to take me through a different lifestyle, through a different way of seeing life. But this phrase right here, good always wins over evil, I absolutely captured that phrase. And if you're watching me today, thank you. You know who you are. You gave me this. You were one of my biggest mentors in my life when I was going through this emotional roller coaster, what it is getting a divorce, right? Because it is an emotional roller coaster. But good always wins over evil. So the message was, you wake up every morning and be fearless because you're doing good, because you're giving it all you got, because you're offering you and your heart and your passion and your life to do good. The rest of the game will take care of itself. The rest of the game will play itself out. The cards will be dealt accordingly. But good will always win over evil. So it doesn't matter how many times you fail. It doesn't matter how many people go and try to hurt you and try to do something that's wrong and try to use you. It doesn't matter, because life will always bring you back to good always wins over evil. So with that said, I want to give you a few just points on how to conquer fear. Okay? If you know the good always wins over evil, what are you going to do today? Are you going to be good to the people that you come across? Or are you going to continue to play this evil game? If you are truly playing an evil game, yes, so I'm going to start putting some of these comments. Putting yourself out there is tricky, but not difficult. People get their courage at their own pace. I know I did. Yep, I agree with you. Some people get their courage by being hit too many times, right? So it's not how many times you fall, but how many times you can rise, right? It's not how many times you get hit, but how many times you can get back on your feet. So we can sit here and say all these beautiful quotes that somebody created because it meant something in your life, in their life at that particular moment. But how is this relating to you and what you're going through? So, number one, I'm going to give you 10 points, okay? And we're going to go fairly quickly with them. Number one is understand the fear. Whatever it is that you are going through, understand the fear. The fear. Why is it making you fearful to do whatever it is that you want to do? So, putting yourself out there, right? Being vulnerable. We talk about that often. I posted something this morning about that. I had an instance myself, and there's somebody very dear and near to my heart that is going through some turmoil. And, it's fearful of what's going to come. So I do these shows exactly for those people that actually reach out and tell me what they're going through. Or if I'm going myself through something, you guys help me conquer and accomplish whatever it is that we're talking about. So understanding the fear. Are you fearful of something that you know may go wrong? Or are you fearful of, what you don't know? So if you don't know that, you need to embrace it. Number two is embracing that fear, understanding it, embracing it, trying to find out where that fear is coming from. I don't know, maybe you've been afraid of heights all of your life, right? And you just have to understand that there is nothing that is going to kill you if you're hyperventilating, if you're nervous. Death is silent, okay? Be afraid of dying, not be afraid of getting too excited and being afraid of something. Be afraid of dying. Be afraid of the silence. If you're hyperventilating, if you're nervous, if you have anxiety, that is not going to kill you. Okay? So understand your fear first. If you're afraid of heights, if you're afraid of flying, if you're afraid, my best friend is afraid of flying, and I'm always constantly telling her the only way that is going to go over and it's going to get done and out of your system is that you conquer that fear. By you fearing it and you repeating it to yourself, you're never going to get over that. So you're going to live with that for the rest of your life. But once you are over that, you're going to be facing some beautiful events. You're going to be able to fly everywhere. You're going to be able to do more things than what you have been doing. If you're afraid of heights, so I'm afraid of heights, okay? So I can't really get close to an edge because I start getting anxiety and I start getting like chills and I start uncovering demons, right? So one of the things I want to do is I want to jump off a plane. Okay. I'm still looking for my partner to do that. So if you're courageous enough and you want to jump on a plane with me, submit your your application for that. But I want to do it with somebody that I know is not fearful. Somebody who has seen the other side already, and somebody who's going to be there to encourage me and make me feel protected. Does that make sense? So why? Because I understand my fear and I want to embrace my fear. Now, I have stood there and analyzed it. Why am I so afraid of that? You know, I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of not being able to support my children. I'm afraid of being homeless. I'm afraid of so many things. And people think that because we're in the light, we can talk in front of public, that we have a good sense of communication, that these things don't happen to us. But no, you guys are wrong. We are human. We are real. We have fears. We have doubts. And we fight them just like you, by going over, jumping over, jump, right? When I was a little girl, there was this river that we would go to, and there was a huge rock where I would see so many kids jumping from into the river and having a great time in the water. But it took me months, if not years, for me to be able to jump that rock and into that water. And I was being bullied. I was being ridiculed. My own cousins, I was always the thick one. I always grew up with a lot of curves and a lot of meat on my bones. Maybe not fat, but a lot of meat and muscle in my bones. And I was always ridiculed. And I don't know if you guys know about that from me, but I used to be called a whale. I used to be called. So every time I got close to that rock and every time I was going to jump over, I was wearing a one-piece bathing suit just like my cousins. But my cousins wear a stick and I was thick, right? And so they didn't know that I was trying to conquer my fear of just jumping. And I remember them. And if you're watching, you know who you were. And I have forgiven you for that because you've made me a strong person. But You used to call me well. You used to tell me that I was the fat one in the family because I was thicker, because I was not the skinny mini that you all were, right? And every time I heard that word, it made me focus on something else. It made me focus on, I am not a whale. I am not that person that they're referring to. You know, we're all made different. All of our bodies are made different. Yes, absolutely. You can relate to the Mexican family criticism. Absolutely. It's cruel, right? But it'll either make you or break you. And for me, because I've never been a victim, I knew that that was not going to break me. And maybe today the roles have changed, you know? And those same people that used to call me a whale and those same people that used to call me fat, they never called me ugly, thank God, but they did call me fat, whale. And then later on, I went to face a husband that will call me a cow. So again, I don't say this to diminish those people. I say this to tell you that I understood my fears. I embraced my fears. I stood there and I analyzed why I was fearful. I named it and I identified the fear, and I knew that I was afraid because people were putting negative thoughts into my head. So I had the courage. I prepare, practice, and role play 1,000 times. Okay? Prepare, practice, and role play 1,000 times. What's going to happen if you just conquer those fears? And visualize that success. As I visualize me being in that water and never being called a coward anymore and never being called a whale, right? And if I was going to be called a whale, well, I wanted to be that whale that jumped and enjoyed the water. So I turned evil and I put good into it. I forgave my cousins. I forgave my friends, my childhood people that made me think I was not normal, that made me think I was fat, that made me think and made me get discouraged from being who I truly was. So because of them, because I allowed them to do that, I went years being hidden until that word that's right there. God always wins over evil. I jumped that rock. I went back and did it 1,000 times. And then I felt like a beautiful white whale in that water. And it taught me from a very young age the fear is just an illusion and that you have to go and hit fear in the forehead. And that communication is key and knowledge is key and preparing yourself is key. But most importantly, faith is key. And knowing that you're here because God doesn't make mistakes. He made you to be somebody special. He made you to change the world, change somebody's world. And so you keep going with that. You follow others that think alike. You know, come from a positive attitude. I hear people telling me all the time, you're too positive. Why are you always positive? Well, I have to be because the world is negative already. You're negative already. So it's my responsibility to be positive and carry this baton for all of us. And guess what? I am willing to pivot. If I give my heart away today and it gets destroyed again, I am willing and ready to pivot. And you should be too. If I go into a brand new business and it's failing or I need to change it, I am willing and ready to pivot. And that's exactly what has kept me going in my life, is my positive attitude, my willing to give it all I got 100%. If it fails, it's not going to be because of me. It's going to be because of evil. And if you're evil, then I encourage you to come to the other side and join the good. Join the good. Do things that are good to people. Do not say something that is going to hurt another person, because you never know if that's the word that is going to make them make the wrong turn. So get help if you need help. Be encouraging to others. Start talking positive. Start getting ready to pivot if it all fails. That's today's show. I hope that you get the message. I love you all. And like Alejandro says, I am glad to find the right people to talk about this. I'm also glad you're one of them. Oh, thank you. Truly a role model. I don't intend to be, other than I am on the good side. So good always wins over evil. And we'll leave with that. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next Monday.
Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way.